it's Coach Tori, and this is Raising Runners. We talk running, fitness, mental health, and so many more topics. As the founder of a youth running program, I approach all of our conversations with our youth athletes in mind and kind of have a focus around those things. But as you will see, we are finding that all of these topics relate to runners and people who like to move and do fitness or anything like that. Relates to everybody. Check it out. Hey, it's Coach Tori.
And Jeff.
And this
and Jeff.
And Jeff. I thought we had it, and this is Raising Runners. And then you froze for a second. I was like, oh no, the intro is already messed up yet again. Here it is. What's going on though? I know you haven't been training much, but then I keep seeing things come through. I try not to check your calendar, but I always see like Jeff imported a workout, and I'm like, what is this man doing?
Oh yeah, I walked 60 miles last week. I'm on track to walk 60 miles this week.
Oh my gosh.
I'm walking 10 miles. Yeah, 10 miles a day. So for everyone's benefit, I had hernia surgery on the 11th. First day I couldn't walk more than 50 yards. So I walked around the house once. But then it really increased pretty quickly. So I walked 9 miles at the end of that week, and then really done 10 miles a day since then. So I'm now feeling like the last day or two, I'm feeling like, okay, it doesn't hurt to walk. So I have a doctor's appointment on Friday. We'll see what the doctor says. I'm sure he's not going to say you can run. That's not what they do. But At least I can, maybe say, okay, maybe 2 more weeks, maybe I can start running.
Wow. How long does it take you to walk 10 miles?
It's about 3 miles an hour, a little bit more maybe. So you're talking about 3 hours.
What are you doing? Are you listening to books, podcasts?
I'm half the time I'm doing podcasts, half the time I'm going silent, and because I'm preparing for our debate today, whether I should or shouldn't listen to stuff.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, nice that you're living what you're going to preach, huh?
I am, yeah. So, and then since I think we last were on, I ran a marathon 27th of August. Was hoping to qualify for Boston. I was right on Boston pace for 22 miles, and as we talked about that, since then I fell apart in the last 4 miles. And it could have been hydration, it could have been nutrition, could have been a lot of things. I wasn't a cardio issue, but I just cramped up, my legs cramped up. So, when you do one race that you're going all out for, and you're running right on that razor's edge, that's the risk. So I was, glad I made the 22 miles and disappointed I didn't finish the last 4 I finished, but not in a pleasant time. So
yeah, but you went for it.
Yeah, and then you ran last week, right? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, sorry, I'm like messing with my microphone. I feel like it's giving a weird feedback, but yeah, I ran on 10 days ago at this point, half marathon. It went better than expected, but I still felt like shit.
You never feel great at the end of a run, right? I mean, who feels great?
I know. Yeah. No, it's one of those things where it's like, I wasn't feeling great the week leading up to it. I was just like, oh, my stomach's getting kind of weird, just kind of like not feeling perfect. And then, James slept over at mom's house that night because no strollers were allowed. Although there was 2 people running with strollers, and I was like, oh, I guess just the rules don't apply to them. How annoying. But anyway, so didn't have to bring him. So then I was home, that afternoon, evening, I like had plans. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep early. We're going to have dinner, do all that stuff. Josh was on call, which is why James had to stay with mom, but he like hadn't been getting calls on call. Anyway, I'm like now making this a long story long, but didn't get to bed till 12 because he didn't get home till 10:30, and then he had to eat dinner, and then he was talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, I have to get up at 4:30. Like, why are you still talking to me? So yes, I didn't get the sleep that I wanted the night before, when I had no reason not to, because I'm like, oh my gosh, the baby's not going to wake me up. So, yeah, so I was already like, I feel like this is a little bit of a deficit. But yeah, then, it's like race atmosphere is so fun. So it's like I picked up Katie, we drove into the city together, met up with some of her friends, saw some of the girls from the running group. So it was a really good time. And then the weather was perfect. It was like cool, but not cold. And then it didn't really get hot. And, Philadelphia does a great race. So there was lots of people cheering. Yeah. And so we started off in like a further back corral, and I think we were near like the 9-minute pace people. And I was like, oh, this might feel a little fast actually, because I typically train like 11-minute miles with the stroller, you know what I mean? But it's just
Yeah.
like there's there's some people who say that it doesn't matter how slow you actually run for your slow runs. And I'm like, I teeter on the end of like, there is an element of like, if you're running 11-minute miles, it is hard to change that to 8, sub 8, like those,
Yeah.
it's hard. So I'm like, with training that slow, there's only so much I can kick it up. So I was a little worried about that, but then ran pretty consistently 8:30s like the whole time, which was nice because I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to even go 9-minute pace or slower? And didn't really have any moments of like really not feeling great. And like the last 2 miles felt like it was forever. Which is just normal. And I'm like, I don't really love running long distances anyway, so it's just not my thing. So yeah, that was fun. Then I took a week off of running, and then I've run twice, like probably only 20 minutes since. So I'm trying to figure out what, the next plan is going to be. But I think I told you, I texted you, I don't remember if you saw the other day that the 5K winter series is not posted right now, so we can't sign up for it. So I'm now concerned that they're not doing it. So I don't know what we're gonna do for
Oh no.
our
Yeah.
winter racing.
Yeah, because there's not a whole. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of races in the winter time up here.
No, like you see a bunch leading up to like the turkey trot, and then there's like 12 different turkey trots in the area. And then yeah, you don't really see anything else until we're looking at like April. So I'm hoping
Yeah,
it's just like not posted because it's kind of a small thing and they're just gonna put it up like 2 weeks ahead of time or something. But
yeah. So you're not sure if you're gonna try to stay in long distance shape or not. Like, I mean, you're already up to half marathon. You ran a half marathon. You were training for a half marathon. It's almost like you reach that plateau. Like, do you want to try to stay there and then up it to the marathon in a month or two, or cut back and then have to go all the way back up to marathon type training? I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a plus or minus to either one of those two, other than the effort it takes to do the marathon type training.
I really was thinking I was gonna just keep it up to do marathon and then do the marathon we were maybe gonna do in November together. But
Well, I'll sign up for the marathon in November, but I may end up walking the marathon in November. I'll be able to run by then, but there's no way I'll be in marathon shape. But given that I'm walking a lot, I think I can walk that baby.
I mean, I'm like super I was pretty fine when you were like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna make that marathon." I'm like, all right, great, spring it is. Yeah, my knees, I was telling you like during the race, my knees were starting to bother me again. And it seems like I can rehab them pretty quickly because that happened last time too. And I think it was only 2 months of rehabbing and then the half marathon happened. So um yeah, so now it's like I can do 2 miles without my knees hurting. So it's like it'll be a slow process to build them back up. So yeah, so I was thinking I was fine with switching to 5K training for the winter because also my lovely little angel does not nap anymore. So like at all, whereas he was at least doing it sometimes. So that really hinders my training because that was when I was doing my like hour and a half runs was for nap time. So I don't really know if I have an hour and a half in the morning. Definitely don't have an hour and a half in the evening to do it. So I'm really not sure how that's going to look. But
You should probably wait till we just to debate the morning versus evening running. So before you decide whether you should be doing it in the morning or the evening, because there is an answer to that question, I think. Oh well.
right. Right. Good segue. Let me get on topic because I'm just now chit chatting and I forgot this is not a chit chat episode. So we are trying something a little new because why not try something new? And schedule wise, it's been very hard to do guests and things like that. So it's going to be Coach Tori and Jeff episodes for a little while together. And so we're going to be doing some running debates. Now I also have 2 names, and I should have told you that there was going to be like a debate on the names, unless you have a better one. So the 2 names for like the segments we're going to do, because we have a couple, probably about 3 episodes worth of topics so far, and I'm sure we can come up with more if people have suggestions. So feel free to send them to us. But names for the segments I had were either jogging jousts or running rhetoric. Those were the two, and they're super lame. That was
Uh,
what I got.
I'm gonna go with running because I mean jogging just sounds slow. I'm gonna go with running. What was it? Running
Running rhetoric.
rhetoric. That's it. That's it. I think that's at least that's my vote. I mean, I'll put my 10% vote in on that one.
All right. Running rhetoric it is for now. So yeah, we're gonna do 3 topics today and we'll see how that goes. The first one we're gonna talk about is treadmill running versus running outside. The next one is going to be running in the morning versus running at night, and then running with music versus running in silence. And so for all of these topics, we picked who picks what stance at random. It wasn't and then we don't necessarily have to agree with the actual stance we're going to be arguing today, but so just for fun, we picked them at random, just so everybody knows if they're not like, oh my gosh, you villain, you hate listening to music. That's not necessarily how it was. So I guess we'll start with the treadmill versus running outside. Let me pull up my
Can I go first? Can I go first?
oh, you can go first. Good, because I was gonna say I'm not ready.
All right, while you prep, I came up with my top 10 list of why running outside is superior to running on a treadmill.
All right, let's hear it.
When we're gonna go from 10 to 1.
10 to
Number
1.
number 10, new clothes. And by the way, I had to do a few stretches, so I had to come up with a couple of these that were not necessarily perfect, but new clothes. If you got a new outfit, if you're running on your treadmill in your house, no one's seeing it. If you got some new clothes that you want to show some people, boom. New shoes, you're outside. So that's number 1. Number 2, this one's a little more important. Calorie. You would burn more calories running outside versus running on a treadmill at the same pace because the treadmill is doing a little bit of work for you versus outdoors, which has a little undulation. So I'll say I left that at number 9 because the differential is probably this much. So,
And for anyone who's not watching, he made the smallest little indication
yeah,
with his fingers there.
yeah, not this much, this much, small amount. So that's number 9. Number 8 is the weather. And that could go either way, but in my view, the weather, just being outside, fresh air, has to take it to be outside is way better than running indoors, stale air, same temperature, no variation. So, I'm going with treadmill is a downer from a weather standpoint. Number 7, hills. Hills. Can't do hills on a
Can't?
treadmill. You can do an incline, but not many treadmills do a decline. So you could run up a hill, but you will never run down a hill unless you have a very expensive treadmill.
Yeah.
All right. So and there is benefits to running both up and down hills from a muscle development and cardio and all that great stuff. Number 6, strength and muscle development. Those little treadmill, very repetitive, same motion every time. And like I said, the treadmill is doing a little bit of work for you. So there's 2 things going on. One is the little micro variations in the road strengthens your tendons and muscles because you're doing different motions at every stride. As you hit a rock, you'd go over a curb. Versus the treadmill, it's one motion. You also can get almost like a carpal tunnel type scenario where you're doing the exact same motion every time. Even though treadmill, I will say, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on this one. You'll probably come up with this one. It's a little bit more cushiony than the road, so it's better for your knees. But I'm not giving you that one yet. Number 5, race preparation. There's not many races that are on a treadmill. Most races are outdoors, and so the outdoor training is very conducive to then translating to a race versus a treadmill. Trying to go from a treadmill to a race, no, doesn't work. Nature. You will see no nature on the treadmill. You will see nature if you run outside. I didn't show you any of my pictures, but I saw so far this week a praying mantis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and hold on, and a stick bug.
Oh, wow.
A
I didn't
walking
realize we had those.
a walking stick. Yeah, so for all those, it's a little green walking stick. It was great. So very excited about nature and animals. Um, Number 3 on my list. Running outside is not as boring as a treadmill, and a treadmill is one of the most boring activities that any human can ever do. It is. I think it's. I don't know if you know like why it's so boring to her. Like I don't know if it's the fact that the display is right there in front of you and you see every second go by. You see yourself going around on a little track. That's at least mine's got a little track that you sort of run around on, and it just goes so slow. I don't know if that's what it is, but it is incredibly boring on a treadmill.
Yeah, and that is a huge part of it too. There are a lot of people that, especially like in a gym setting, will cover it with like a towel or something because it is like watching even just the numbers tick away, like puts your brain, you like are unable to get into like that flow state of like time now doesn't matter because it's pushing it in. Wait, never mind. What am I doing?
Yep. Yep.
I'm
Yes.
helping.
I
No.
agree with you 100%, Tor. Thank you very much, Coach Tor.
Just kidding.
Number 2 on my list is relationships. You can't run and talk with a friend on a treadmill.
You
One, they're not usually side by side unless they're at the gym, but the pounding of the feet and having a private conversation at the gym is impossible. So if you go outside and you run with your friend outside, or even just if you run by the neighbor and just wave hi, that's relationships. You're developing relationships. So outside is again superior to treadmill as it comes to relationships. And finally, number one reason treadmills suck is price. They are expensive as hell. And so therefore, and what does it cost to run outside, Tor?
free.
Free. Yeah, free. Who likes free?
Free plus
This
your
guy likes free.
$150 shoes.
Everyone likes free, but you have to run shoes with treadmill too. So again, that's my number one reason that treadmills are the pits. So I
Wow.
guess my case. Does the defense even want to call a witness?
Well, I don't have a witness. I have myself who's not a treadmill runner, so take that for what you will. But I do like the way you set this up because now I have all points to just rebut here, plus the
Okay.
things that I had. So this is good that you wanted to go first so badly. Okay. So the clothing aspect that you brought up, you got to show off your new clothes. Great. That's what social media is for now. So boom, picture roasted, done. But the other benefit of a treadmill, because it is so convenient, is, you're running outside. You now need, especially if you live where we live, you need the hot weather gear, you need the cold weather gear, you need the rain gear, you need the reflective gear. You're now spending probably what a treadmill would cost on all of your gear. So there's that.
Yep.
In addition to gear, you could need safety items. So like, the GPS watch, because if you're running out there, people need to know where you are. If you have, you got to bring your cell phone, make sure you got service. You have to bring, a little pepper spray or whatever you bring as safety precautions. So now you got the safety aspect. So not only is it money could probably actually equal out, you're adding safety in there as well. So I wrote down self-propelled treadmill. I don't know if that was, you were saying the strength aspect of things with the treadmill, but the self-propelled treadmills eliminate some of that unnatural movement that you do get on a treadmill with you not having to actually push off as hard because it is moving. So
Did you say some or all? Some.
some.
It eliminates some of the mechanical movement the treadmill's helping you with, but probably not all of it, right? Because once you get it running, it's still got that inertia that it's still going, right?
Some.
Some. The key word there was some.
Yeah,
I don't
sure,
want to
that
interrupt
one.
you again.
You can. So right, there are self-propelled treadmills that can change that, mimic the movement as well. But also a benefit of treadmills is you can control the pace. So especially with people who struggle to, level up their pacing, if it's like, I need to run 2 minutes at this pace, but it's really easy to slow down when you're just in control of it yourself. If you have the treadmill set to 10 miles an hour, whatever it is, it's not slowing down unless you force it to. So it can help you break through some of those
I'm giving you that one.
challenges.
That one's a slam dunk. I'm with you on that one because I use a treadmill for my speed work, so I'm in. I count you
And
on that one. You got it. You win that one. That one.
just that one. It's crazy because that's like a newer thing for me too, because I really am not a treadmill person, as you know. But I know like you do speed work on the treadmill. I have a few other runners who also opt to do their speed work on the treadmill, and they do great with it, and they love like being able to set the paces and stuff. So yeah, it's like a whole thing I didn't even realize that people are into.
I'm a
Avoiding,
trendsetter. Yeah.
yeah. Avoiding the weather. I feel like that wasn't really a pro for you, because you're avoiding the weather. So you can
Yeah.
run
I tried to
in,
use it. I used weather for those beautiful days, but I'm gonna give it to you already that before you even say it, like on those lousy weather days, yeah, a treadmill comes in handy.
yeah, you have no excuse if it gets too cold, doesn't matter if it gets too hot, doesn't matter, rain, hail, sleet, ice, slippery, doesn't matter. Air quality issues, lots of people, when we were having air quality issues last year or whatever it was over the summer, people were running inside of their treadmills where they were able to run instead of running outside and damaging their lungs. So that's another one. The hills, I mean, the incline, I mean, come
You got
on.
incline. What about the decline? What about the decline?
I mean, if you're a trail runner, you have to practice running on the trails, but how many of us are trail runners? We're not. So you don't. Forget it. Skip it. Skip hill day, everybody. It's fine. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, you can you get some of that elements there. There's also strength work you can do to help, build muscles and stuff. So I think it'll be okay. On that topic too, you were talking about the like micro movements running on the street. Most of us need accessory work anyway to get that lateral movement and really fine tuning all those extra muscles, glute activation, hips, all that stuff. So everybody should be doing it anyway. So if you're on a treadmill, if you're on the road, you still got to do some extra work to make up for some of that lack of muscles that we get with that repetitive running back and forth. And like you mentioned, that cushiony aspect of injury, some slight damages to our joints and things. The treadmill is a little more cushy, so it can help with that as well.
I'm giving you that one too. Yep, I gave you that one too. Yep.
Race prep, skip, nature skip.
Yeah, yeah. No, skip that one. Yep.
Boring though, in terms of race prep and stuff like that. If you tackle the mental struggle of running on a treadmill for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50, whatever it is, you're kind of invincible that way. You're really able to focus on getting in the zone, avoiding all of that extra distraction or lack thereof distraction. And you're really able to focus on like, this is how I'm moving, this is what I'm doing, and get in your head that way, then you are pretty much unbeatable, I would say, mentally, if you can do the treadmill. So I'll give the
it,
it is a matter of if, I will say.
Because it is brutal.
It is a matter of if. Okay, in terms of relationships, I've seen treadmills next to each other all the time for those gym goers, which you did say exists. So there's that. You ever heard of Peloton?
Are you gonna have a private conversation at the gym with your friend?
People do.
I think should
probably. Ever heard of Peloton? They have all, you're in the classes with other people. I think I've literally never done a Peloton workout, so I have no idea.
I have.
Community. See, yeah. Community, you have the group, you're showing up, you got that accountability. Now it's even better than running outside because you're able to, yeah, you're able to be inside with your friends. Now you're not distracted by the dangers of the outside world, trying not to get hit by cars while you all are crossing the street, all that kind of stuff. You're just in class with whoever Peloton instructor, and you can text each other privately if you want to have a private conversation. I also know some ladies from one of the nonprofits in the area, and they call each other on their runs. So you want to chat with your friends, you got FaceTime, you can just prop it up there on the little treadmill thing, and now you're running with a friend. So good on that one. Price, I already talked about that with all the gear you need for running outside in the different weather. You're running on your treadmill in your house, you need shorts, t-shirt, shoes. Done.
Were you taking notes on my 10?
I did.
Did you?
I did take notes.
I didn't even notice. I'm thinking, how did you run down my entire 10 and remember all 10 of them?
Yeah, I was taking notes on your attendance. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll just do this. Now back to
Okay.
my notes that I have very
So
brief
you
notes.
should have been like the captain of the debate team, because it's like you coming. I'm sure everyone who's watching is gonna be like, "Oh, Tor won that easily."
Well, that's what I said. You set me up for success for this one. So I guess if I would go next time, it's going to be, a problem. But so yeah, so I mentioned the controlling your pace. I mentioned the convenience. Multitasking as well. It's much easier to multitask on it. You can watch your shows. If you have your shows, some special people are able to read books while they're running on a treadmill. You can knit while you're running. There's a lot you can do. You can multitask while you're on your treadmill.
I don't think I can do it. I don't believe anyone can knit and why they run.
I'm gonna go try it this week and I will get back to you. I will film it and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Easier on the joints,
Yep.
the convenience of running alone at any hour, the safety, again, I mentioned that. Yeah, that was my treadmill arguments.
Well, I mean, you almost got me convinced. Although I will say, I think we probably both would agree, right? If you're sitting at home on the couch and you don't run at all, whether you run on a treadmill or you run outside, you're going to get 99% of the benefits either way, right? I mean, these differences are probably like, again, little tiny fingers next to each other, small
Right. Can you
differences.
even see through them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I like a treadmill. I mean, I think both have their benefits, to be perfectly honest. But again, I'm sitting here arguing outside. I do think outside mimics racing better, and I think that's
yeah.
the key. Like if you want to play baseball the best, you probably want to play baseball. Like there are probably other things you could do. Like, oh, I could play tennis, and that might help with my hand coordination. But it might help, but not as much as playing baseball would. And that's what I think. Like running outside, even though running on a treadmill is very, very, very similar, there are slight differences to where you get some benefits being outside. Would be my final my final dissertation on that one. That's my final paper. I'm sending it in, saying outside is not superior, but it's slightly better than running on a treadmill.
Um,
But it depends on
yeah.
what you're trying to do, though.
Oh, totally. And I think it really is like a preference thing, because there are, like you said, if you want to be running, find a way to be running, right? I've mentioned this multiple times. I'm not a treadmill person. I do feel the difference between running on a treadmill at one speed, running outside at the same speed, do not feel the same at all. I feel like I always want to be as prepared as possible. So I do like to run outside more. But also as like a mom and a woman in the scary, scary world we have now, it is comforting to have a treadmill, knowing that like if I want to run at a different time of day, you're safe on your treadmill. You're safe. You can watch your baby monitor on your treadmill. So I do think there are different life things that can make more sense to do treadmill running. But I will say running outside is better. but treadmill wins.
Yeah, okay. No. I'm going to give you sort of at least a push, if not a win for you, from the passion of the argument.
Yes.
And throwing at least every one of my arguments back at me.
Yep. That was I'll say I won that one because I'm not gonna win another one today.
Oh, I
I
don't know.
don't.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. Is running at night next?
No, morning versus evening. Well, yes.
Yeah, so
Yes
running
is
at
the
night
answer.
next. Did you want me to go first for that one?
Yeah, I mean, I got my 10 list, but yeah, you want to go first? Go. I don't know if
All
I see
right.
the differences. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to write all yours down and refute all yours back the way you did to me. But I'm a guy that's just like, I stick with my plan. So once you go, I'm going to run off my 10.
And then I'm gonna run back your 10 to you if I didn't cover them already.
Yeah.
Because that's
Okay.
how I roll. All right, so this is running at night versus running in the morning. I am going to argue running at night is better because it is. So I'm going to start with I think it's a list of about 8-ish. So is it 8? Yeah. All right. Running at night can relieve stress from your entire day. So not only people nowadays are often super busy, although if you go on like social media, you'll see people who are like, I wake up at 4 so I can do 400 things before I start my day at 7. You don't have to be that person, right? You can wake up at 6, get ready for your day, go off, go to work, do whatever you're doing, come home. I've had such a stressful day. Now I can unwind and go for a run it helps relieve the stress of actually fitting it into the morning, but also helps relieve the stress of whatever you went through during the day. Oftentimes too, you're going to be more prepared for your run in the evening, right? So I know a lot of people who are morning runners, and this also used to be me, is you get up and because you have to fit it in, the first thing you do is run on an empty stomach. So you're not fueled. If you're running at night, there's a good chance you've already eaten dinner. You've already had meals throughout the day. You've made sure you were hydrated. You're probably all warmed up from moving around all day. So you are going to be better prepared to actually go execute your run. You're probably not going to forget to bring your fuel with you either, because again, you've been up, you know what you're doing with your day. You're not just falling out the door early in the morning. Nighttime running can serve as some quiet meditation as well. So kind of just like the whole stress relieving part, you're able to, instead of in the morning, if you're up and you're now making the list of the 800 things you need to be doing, so your mind is constantly running on all the things that you need to be thinking about for the day. If you're running at night, the last thing you really are doing is probably showering, stretching, going to bed, maybe having something to eat. So you're able to have a little bit of actual like Zen time, thinking about your body, being more present, able to get into that flow state. So you're really setting your brain up for more success as well with night running. Night running can be more social. Back to the social end of it, there's lots of running groups who do evening runs. A lot more people, I think, are able to come usually to those, after dinner time runs. I know a lot of people who are parts of groups that will run to like a brewery and do that after, or run to dinner and do that after.
Oh my, run to a brewery?
Yeah, one of my runners right now, I believe that's what he said. They have a running group that does like after work run. They'll do like a couple miles and they'll end up at a brewery and like have a couple drinks or whatever. And that's like what they do.
A terrible idea, but anyway, okay. Again, I'm not going to interrupt your speech.
Hey, so it can be more. If brewery's not your thing, it is a more social thing. We have some running groups here that do evenings as well, and they're always a really big group, so it can be very social because you're not trying to just get your run in. Even if you go to a running group in the morning, a lot of times it's get ready to work, and then you actually have to go to work. So it can be more social when it's in the evening and there's nothing you're waiting to do after. Let's see. Oh, because your senses are now dimmed with nighttime running, usually even if you're wearing like a headlamp or whatever, it's darker, right? So you're not visually being stimulated by a lot of different things. Stuff's going to sound different, all that stuff. So you are having a more effective run because you are not using all of your sight to give you, what is it, like proprioceptive, where you are in the world, right? So you're now using your feet, your body, your ears, everything. So you're using different senses to know where you are in the world to be able to keep moving and not fall and all that stuff. So it is a little more effective actually that way. You get more into like an automatic state with running because you're not just visually seeing everything and relying on your eyes. I already said de-stressing after a long day. I must have tried to use that point twice.
Your list just went down to 7.
Yeah, that's why I said 8-ish, because I was like, I know there's probably some repeats in here because I was just like, there's a point to be made. Anybody who's ever run at night, and if you're the kind of person like me, or probably most people who you get a little spooked in the dark, you're running faster at night. You're able to be a little, your adrenaline's just already up. You're nervous. You want to get
out of fear of getting killed.
You're scared. So you're speedy. So you're not even really thinking about putting more of that effort in, but your adrenaline spiked, your legs are moving quick. You're not dilly-dallying, you're not wasting time. You also probably don't have to stop. For people who run in like a town or a city, you're not stopping for traffic as much. So you're getting to it, you're getting groovy, you're speedy. So, you just have that inherent gotta go kind of thing. I know there are some people who will argue that, doing exercise later in the evening can disrupt your sleep. But there is some science that says that's not the case for, that's not the case for everybody. So a lot of people are able to go on a run and then you're going to have better sleep afterwards because you are kind of already exhausted your body, especially for people who are overthinkers, you like to move too much, all that stuff. Getting tired, shower. It's a good nighttime routine to help you wind down instead of people who are going to be, watching hours of TV or on the phone or scrolling or whatever. You're not giving yourself all that blue light to help mess up your circadian rhythm. You're on your run and then you're cooling down and going to bed. So it can help with better sleep. And then lastly, kind of the same as a couple of other points I've already tried to make. The consistency of it. In nighttime, usually people have some kind of consistent routine. A lot of us, it is going to be something like watching TV or whatever after dinner, cleaning up, all those kinds of things. If you fit running into that, that's just going to be something you're able to be more consistent about. I think oftentimes we're going to find more excuses in the morning. If it's like, I'm running late, I overslept, I have to do this now. You're able to make excuses as to why you're not able to fit your run in. So when it's at nighttime, it's kind of just like, this is the end of my day routine. Not as many weird things are going to come up in the evening, usually for most people, as opposed to in the morning. So you don't have as many pitfalls that are going to get you out of your habit. And that is it.
All right. The prosecution rests.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, as a defense, I'm going to come in. I did take some notes.
I saw you taking notes after you said you weren't going to take notes.
I know. Well, yeah, I took notes because I said, okay, I learned my lesson after the first one. So, okay. So let's just go through my 10 list, and there's a lot of overlap. So, number one, I'm going to go with weather. Sorry, that's number 10, weather. Yeah. Because it's in the summertime, it's very cool in the morning, relatively speaking, than the evening. So yeah, so you're running at night is your argument. Like you're talking about like 10 o'clock at night, like dark at night? Are you talking about like 6 o'clock at night?
Could be any.
Okay.
Nighttime's nighttime.
All right, nighttime's nighttime. You're talking about after work, after you've worked all day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to argue that typically speaking in the summertime, because heat is really your real concern as a runner. So yeah, yes, it's also going to be colder in the winter and in the fall, but heat is really the enemy of a runner, not the cold. So I would say in the summertime, the morning is your time to go to run. You mentioned all these great meals you had during the day, so you're all prepped up for your run. No, you got to look at the other way around. It's like you want to run sometimes in a fasted state. So you want to have not eaten over the entire night. You want to get up in the morning. You want to go out there and do your 5 miles or your 10 miles. Boom. On an empty stomach, maybe a little bit of coffee, but that's about it. And you're basically teaching your body how to run on fat versus carbs and sugars. So at some point during a long race, you're going to have to switch over from carbs to fats. And that's when many people just bonk. And this is teaching your body how to get past that. That's number 9 on my list. Number 8, mental strength is highest in the morning. So after an entire day of decision making and battles at work and kids getting to school and someone got suspended and someone pokes them with a pencil and all of those things that happened during the day that you had to deal with, you're exhausted. Not just physically exhausted, but much more mentally exhausted. Your mental strength is strongest in the morning. So you're more apt to be out there on running and sharp and ready to go and focused on that workout. That's the morning, not in the evening, morning. Number 7, I'd have to say is, and maybe because I'm a night person, because I do most of my workouts at night. I know I'm arguing here for morning, but I have a hard time when the alarm goes off. It's optional, and I have a difficult time saying, yes, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. And I can do it now because I'm retired. But when I had work, to do it before work is a discipline that I didn't have, but was envious of. I think the people that are that disciplined in their life to say, I'm going to carve out from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. to go do a workout, they get all the respect in the world from me. And that also, I think, carries through for the rest of life. If you've already done that in the morning, and that's just an example of how disciplined you are, that just carries through everything you do in life. And doing things that you should do versus things that you want to do is what discipline's all about. It's doing those things that are the right thing to do, the hard thing to do versus what I want to do. And that's what discipline's all about. So, boom. Race prep. There's not a lot of races at night. Most of those races, you were just talking about being up at 4 a.m. and driving to Philadelphia to do your half marathon. Yeah, that's what races are. Getting up early, going out and doing a run. And this is practice for that race. So you have to get up early and go out for that run. Number 5, this is one of my stretches, animals. You're more likely to see animals in the morning than you are in the evening. Animals come out in the morning, you might see some deer or some rabid raccoons or some other things out there. So you might see some animals out there. And again, that's always a positive. Safety. There's actually less, again, it depends on whether you're talking about running at 10 o'clock at night or running at like 6 o'clock at night. I would say, typically speaking, there's less traffic in the morning. So it's a little bit safer to run in the morning than it is in the evening. There's more people rushing home to get to dinner, more things going on, more traffic, school's out. You got to run before kids get to school, before you have to go to work. If you're running in that sort of 6 to 7 window, you're in a sweet spot, and traffic is very light at that time. So safety wise, that's the way to go. Testosterone, number 3 on my list. You're saying testosterone. What does that have to do with anything? Well, testosterone is higher in the morning, according to studies, and therefore you might build a little bit more muscle than you would otherwise by working out in the evening. Again, with the little fingers. I'm doing little fingers all day long. Mood boosting. I think there's a bunch of studies on this. In fact, we've talked about this on podcasts, right? How the mental, the benefits mentally of running that you get. It's to take away depression, anxiety. It's mood boosting. So you start your day with a run, it carries through the rest of the day. You're that much happier. You start out, instead of starting out here, humdrum throughout the day, you're starting out up here, and again, way up here, and you're going up as the day goes on. So it's mood boosting. And the last thing is, that's a bit of a stretch, this one is, I think you mentioned up front, is we all know that person that does like that, 10-mile run in the morning. Yeah, everyone wants to be that guy. Everyone wants to
I
be
hate
that
that
guy.
guy.
No, everyone hates him, but they love him. They love him because they wish they were that guy. They wish they were that person who had got up at 4 a.m. and did their workouts before work. Everyone knows they want to be that guy, but very few people can be that guy. I can't be that guy. Everyone wants to be that guy, though. I rest my case on the love of that guy.
I mean, not much argument for me. I'm going back to the fueling thing, though. A good majority of us pedestrian runners do not need to be practicing fasted running. So, no, I do not, because I'm sure all the people who I'm like, make sure you're fueling, are gonna be like, excuse me, what are you talking about? Yeah, all of you still make sure you're fueling. You're not running. You don't need it. You don't need to be practicing your fasted running. You don't need to really be doing all that for what we're doing.
I'm doing it. I'm doing my walks in the morning, first thing, in a fasted state. Now again, I'm walking, right? So it's a world of difference. But my plan, as my coach, I was going to run this by you, but my plan is to do probably 5 morning runs a week, pre-breakfast, starting whenever I can start to do my run. So all in a fasted state. So that's my plan.
We will have to chat about that, because we'll have to chat.
We'll have to chat. Okay, you're the coach.
We'll have to chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have much argument there, because although I am a nighttime runner now, I don't want to be, honestly.
Yeah, and I am a nighttime runner, so I mean, I like being a nighttime runner, but I mean, I don't like to run in the dark, so that's the difference. Like, I don't mind running in the evening. I also don't mind going out to the gym and either doing treadmill or doing a lifting workout at 10 o'clock at night. Like, but most people, they're by the end of the day, they're exhausted. I find, right? I mean, I think most people at the end of the day are more likely to say, I'll just do it tomorrow. I can't do it tonight. And that's why I have such respect for people that can get up at whatever, again, an hour earlier than they have to and do a workout. I just think that's incredible, because when the alarm goes off, I've never said, I don't have to get up, but I'm going to get up an hour earlier than I really want to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I definitely do like sometimes my nighttime running, because of all those things of like, you do get to just decompress from the day. You don't have to be thinking about what the rest of your day is going to look like. It's kind of like, this is the only thing left I have to do. I do think that's kind of nice. The world is pretty quiet at night, which is nice too. But the amount of times the amount of times I've missed a run because I'm like, I
It's
should have
awesome.
just done it this morning because I don't want to do it now that it's 9:30 or now I'm hungry. I don't, it's like a lot of stuff does get in the way, I think, if you wait
Yeah.
till nighttime.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I've been fortunate because I am pretty disciplined about if I have a planned run, it's very rare, or a workout of some sort. It's very rare that I'll let the day get away and not do it at all. Again, I got a lot more flexibility than I used to, but even if when I was working, I was pretty good about still doing the workout at night.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go to the next one? I don't know if there's a declared winner there. Did you say something?
Uh,
All right, I'll go next on that. We don't have to declare a winner on that one.
I mean, I don't
It's
know if anybody had a great argument, honestly, but
No,
I
I
think,
think it is such a personal preference on that one. It's
yeah,
like, when do you have the window to do it? And there are morning people and evening people, right? I mean, uh, you know, again, I don't like to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning if I don't have to, but I don't mind doing it at night. But there are people just the opposite of me. So, but
just if,
apparently you're not one of them.
well, I'm kind of like, do I have to do anything? I'm just tired all the time.
It's a little different, yeah.
Uh, But no, I think, my biggest thing with running is always like fit it in when you can get it in. And I think that's kind of just whatever works for people. So moving on.
All
Also,
right.
the treadmill one is the only one I actually spent days before today trying to find my arguments. Today I was like, oh crap, we're recording today. Let me find some points on these things. So yeah, they all just keep getting worse. But so this one is music versus silence. And so I tried to keep it to just arguing music, not like listening to things versus silence, because that was what we talked about. So I'm going to be arguing for music. Jeff will be arguing for silence. You want to go first?
And silence will go first. Yes. All right. Number 10, race day tech issues. So if you run with no music, if you run just in your own head, if you don't have to ever worry about race day tech issues with earbuds not working. I had tech issues with both marathons I did this year. One, the Apple earbuds ran out of power after 3 hours, and I wasn't done my marathon after 3 hours. So that left a little bit of time at the end to keep going with in silence. And the same thing with the last one I did, which was I had a plug issue, which I thought I had it plugged all the way in, and I went with the wired ones to avoid the battery dying, and I had a plug issue that I'm embarrassed to say I think I just didn't have it pushed in all the way. Um, but as you were running, it was really hard to figure that out, to be perfectly honest.
Fair.
All right. So anyway, tech issues. Mental toughness. Back to your point with if you can run on a treadmill and survive that for an hour long or 2 hour long treadmill run, and you're bulletproof with running, right? I think the same thing with we use music and podcasts and other things as distractions, right? We try to get ourselves lost in something else versus just sort of embracing the challenge of the run. And I think I've done now a bunch of runs now and walks without technology, and it is a different. You do find yourself thinking about a lot of different stuff. I do like the idea of, sometimes you like the distraction for a really long run, but sometimes I just like to feel like, okay, how do I feel? Let me check my body. How's my pace? How's my heart rate? How's my breathing? How's my foot strikes? Like, let me just think about that for a little bit, and then try to forget about it, think about something else, and then come back to it in a little while, which I don't do when I have a podcast on or anything else. I just listen to it and you know and over and over again. So I think the mental toughness is good, to have nothing on and just really be there and be present. Be social. And that one seems to be coming up a lot with these things. If you have earbuds in, you can't have a conversation with someone you're running with. Um, so yeah, I think take the earbuds out, and then if you're running, you can say hello to people, you can talk to your friend. Um, so I think from a social standpoint, silence is the way to go. Take the earbuds out. It's to it's there's more stimulation, when you're aware of what's going on around you. This is number 7 on my list. Stimulation. It's around being aware of your surroundings. And you can talk about a little bit of maybe running at night, like, all of the things you need to be aware of, where you are, what's next, what's going on. I think you get a little bit lost when you're listening to music in the music. You daydream more, you just sort of get robotic. And without that, I think you find yourself more present, more stimulated by your surroundings, right? So, more stimulated by what's out there, what you're seeing. Some of these things have a little bit of overlap too, so you'll find that in my next view as well. Um, Create, number 6. Um, there's a 2012 study. I'm going to throw some science at you here. A 2012 study that showed that allowing your mind to wander can get you a creative bump. So you can be more creative throughout the day by allowing your mind to wander. I think we all know this, right? From the standpoint of the things that you think about, you can solve a math problem or solve some other issue in your life that you've been thinking of, and then suddenly it will just come to you, whether you're being sleeping, but it's not usually happening when music's playing in your ears loudly. So when you're out for that run, you can sort of think about those things, and you can get a little bit creative. And just if you're going to question the science, that was from a Canadian running magazine, and the Canadians would never lie. So we'll leave it at that. Relax is number 5. Silence can be relaxing. Silence, there was a study, and I don't know, this one was mentioned in Runner's World, so I don't think I have a reference other than Runner's World. But it can make you, running without music can make you de-stress more than with music. Form is number 4 on my list. So I mentioned, when you're present, when you're thinking of how you're doing, it is checking that breathing, foot strike, heart rate. And so it's really just checking your form periodically. And you're more apt to do that when you're running and you're being conscious versus unconscious, so to speak, unconsciously running and listening to music. Safety. This is it's got to be hands down winner, right? I mean, every woman in the world has got to say that, running with music on, you can't hear the person sneaking up behind you. You can't. So every woman, every man should run without earbuds on. I don't want to be sexist. Everyone should run without earbuds in, so you can hear what's going on, whether it be a predator, whether it be an animal, whether it be a car, dog, whatever it ends up being. You want to be able to hear everything around you. I know you can hear with the earbuds in if you have them set right, but you still can't hear as well. Zen state, number 2 on my list. Being in the moment, back to nature. I think that sounds very similar to, stimulating, but that's on number 7, but that's number 2 is Zen. I think Zen's a little bit different. It's like the whole being, right? It's your mental health along with your physical health, being one with nature and getting that Zen aspect of the run, not necessarily flow state. It's a little bit different than that, because I think it's really just being part of your surroundings and feeling like you're part of the surroundings. And finally, pace is my number 1 issue. Is the beats per minute of a song can hijack your run. So if you're listening to Eminem, Lose Yourself or some other song, you might step up either from adrenaline or from the beat of the song. You may take your 160 beats per minute that you're normally running and move up to 170, and now your pace is faster than it should be, and now you're dying that last 2 miles. So you want to determine your own pace. You don't want the song to determine what your pace is. I rest my case.
Somehow in that I stopped taking notes. I don't realize when I stopped taking notes on
probably my duplicated Zen and mental toughness and stimulate.
Yeah, I was like, ultimately, I'm like, oh, I stopped taking notes. But
this one was tough. I will say, this one was tough to come up with 10. So that's why you found some duplication there.
Yeah, again, like I said, I didn't really prep too much. Sorry, I'm always not doing that. But yeah, I kind of feel like this one was kind of just like that's so me. I'm like, whatever you want, right? Um, but to comment on the pacing, use the music to help you push your pace. Use the music to find the correct cadence. Get that rock lobster warm up going. Running in place to that 180 beats per minute.
Yeah.
So, yes, use that as a tool to help you push yourself. The other things that I have written down, at least, race day tech issues. Who said we're all doing a race?
No, that's true.
Not me.
Although you did do one.
I did, I know, but that's so not me. But yeah, I mean, a lot of us are just out going for runs. So, if you want your music to help you have a better run, have more fun on your run,
How about
no one's going
safety?
to tell you you
What,
can't.
what's your pushback on safety?
Open run headphones. They don't go in your ears. You can hear perfectly still. It's bone conductor. I have them now. So safety, boom, roasted.
What is that? I never even, what are these?
So it's
You made this thing up. You just made up some kind of new headphone that you can hear.
no.
You can listen to music loud, but you can still hear the surrounding world around you at the same volume.
Yeah, open run. So I believe they used to be called aftershocks. And I had them, I think I had them for our ultra, but yes, they like sit not on your ears, and they somehow through like vibrations, it still plays the music. But it's not in your ear. So your ear canal is still completely unobstructed. So you can still hear any kind of sounds. Their biggest thing is talking about safety.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
So how much do those cost?
they were not cheap.
Okay, there we go. All right. So
But I think they probably run similar to like AirPods or something of that.
a few $100s.
Oh no, I think they were like between 1 and 2.
All right.
So
So a couple $100. All right. So and if you don't listen to music, how much does that cost? Nothing. All right. I just thought I'd throw one point out there. I'm trying.
it's free. And so yeah, so safety, the open run headphones. I think there's other bone conductor headphones that don't go in your ears. Yeah, but race day tech issues, a lot of races that use your tech. If you're at all tech savvy, like us millennials and younger, you don't have those race day
Ouch.
tech issues. So you're fine. Just kidding. I've like always had headphone issues, so I can't even say anything. I have a pair of corded headphones that I don't know what is wrong with them, but as soon as I start playing stuff, it's like you're holding the volume down button, and so it just goes down till it's off, and then I hold the volume all the way up back to where I want it. I'm like, great, nothing's touching the volume button, and then it goes all the way down to 0. I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. So yeah, tech issues, but and mental toughness. Music has been shown to help aid with getting into the flow state, so that can help you, maybe not on the mental toughness necessarily side, but you're able to use it as a mental strategy if you are hurting in a race or a run, if you are not able to, you're really struggling with whatever you're doing. You can use music to help motivate you, but also different kinds of meditative type music can help you get into a flow state, so then you're able to perform more with your running. Some points I have that are not even numbered or even kind of bulleted, they're like screenshotted off of some stuff I was reading. There has been some research also that says listening to high energy music for your warm up can help have benefits while you are performing your actual run. So even if you don't want to listen to some kind of weird music, high tempo, that's going to, put you off your pace, like you mentioned, listen to some high tempo stuff while you're doing your warm up, and then listen to whatever calming music or whatever you want while you're running. And you're still going to feel those benefits of the extra energy, adrenaline, and kind of get you moving that way. It says it leads to better performance in high intensity exercises. So there's that. Music can also help decrease your rate of perceived effort. So that's, I guess, can be a good thing.
Yeah. No, I'm shaking my head on that one. I mean, perceived effort is a big part of running.
Right. So I feel like I also want people to like actually know what the perceived effort is, but yeah, it can help you, do a little better than you thought you would, run a little harder than you thought you could, kind of help you get out of that comfort zone of, I think this is always really hard this way. So music can help you get out of that.
Just for everyone's benefit. So like perceived effort versus real effort, right? So I think the difference is, right, is one is a specific workout has a certain amount of effort required to run, let's just say 10, 800 meters at a certain pace. Sometimes that feels harder than it does other times. And I think the days it feels harder, your perceived effort is higher. Is that the way that would work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I had a better explanation of perceived effort and examples, and now it's like completely flying out of my brain. Because there were some studies too on like people who have higher rates of perceived effort and lower, and now I'm like not remembering any of what
Yeah, and it's important,
that
right? I mean,
is.
because when you finally break and stop, it's because your perception of the effort is so great that, again, whether your heart rate is through the roof or not, it's you perceive that it's I can't go any further. And the run is a lot harder. So you can do the same run twice, and sometimes it just feels a lot harder, even though it may have been the exact same. So
Right.
I'm not sure why I said
Exactly.
that, but
Exactly. So, music helps keep your brain young. You get some of that neurogenesis from listening to music. So not even just for our runs, but in general, listening to music can help keep our brains at some kind of younger state, helping produce new brain cells. Blah, blah, blah. Research on that. Also just like alertness and other things like that. Um, it can improve your, I should have read these things before I just started talking about them. Like, it can improve your endurance. How? Yep, there
yeah,
doesn't say how, so I'm not gonna say that one.
yeah. Yeah, I
Music,
can't imagine how it would. I mean, other than maybe it can help you run longer, if that's, I
yeah.
guess. By the way, I'm a fan of music. I mean, I do both, but I will say I do find music or podcasts or other things that it does help pass the time a little bit, right? And or books. I
Oh
read a lot of
yeah.
books. I've read, quote, a lot of books.
Music can help reduce, oh no, can help make your solo runs less monotonous, which we kind of were saying, right? It just makes it all seem like it's not as boring. Music can help reduce stress. There have been numerous studies on how music can influence your heart rate, perceived effort, which we just talked about, and just other stress related symptoms or things that you can see. So it can help make you feel less stressed while you're running. So you're not really I'm already stressed out. I had a rough day at work. I'm tired, whatever. You can just kind of enjoy your run because music is helping you calm down a little bit. And then the other mention that I had of helping get into flow state. So that's all I had on music. That was a terrible way to end an argument. That's all I
Yeah,
had. So
yeah, yeah.
whoops.
No, again, I think it's a lot like treadmill, right? I think it's or even morning and night. It's there's a lot of personal preference to it, right? It's like, what do you enjoy doing? What's going to make you enjoy running more, and therefore make you more likely to go out and run, right? So because that's really the goal of everyone is to go out there consistently. We want everyone to go out there and run.
Right.
And if you want to listen to music and that helps you go out and run and you feel like the time goes by better, or you listen to a podcast, feel like you learned something, great. Yeah, and again, that helps. Or if you're a person that you're very introspective, you're very thoughtful, or whatever it is, and you want to just go out and think and you enjoy that, yeah, I mean, have at it.
I will say I'm not a music listener on runs anymore. I either listen to nothing or a book or a podcast, and then I don't actually even listen to it. It's just, background noise because then my brain stops thinking about whatever it's thinking about. But I did listen to music in the half marathon, a week ago. And I don't even know. I think Katie was talking about the playlist she was making. She'd been talking about it for like a week. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a running playlist. And so I did. And it was like very short because I was like, what is music? I don't even know. And I thought that was like, it was like a fun little treat while I was running. I felt like very motivated by it. And it was super, you know,
So give me some insights. Like, what kind of music was on your playlist?
what was on my playlist because I like don't listen to music, right? I had no idea. So,
Is Katy
um,
Perry, or is this like Eminem? Like, which
like
one?
well, closer to Katy Perry. So Demi Lovato just released a new album, but she like revamped some of her old songs in like the rock genre more so. So that was kind of fun. So I that was on it. There was some Fall Out Boy that was on it, and some Panic at the Disco. If I didn't sound any more lame, unless I said Nickelback, like I sound like such a loser.
You named every one of my songs. You know, I mean, besides the first one, because I don't have any Demi Lovato, but I do have all the other ones. And by the way, big fan of Nickelback.
I know.
I'm saying it right here. Nickelback, I love them.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. Yeah, so that was what was on my playlist because I couldn't honestly think of like other songs that I liked. And I'm like, I should have got like Paramore on there too, which doesn't make it sound any cooler, but I'm like, those are like the concerts that I've been to and like the music that I always feel like positive about. So
you go to a lot of you've been to concerts like Macklemore and other ones, and it's like like you didn't. I don't see a Nickelback. I didn't see you there.
Nope, wasn't it Nickelback ever.
By the way, I just went a month ago to Aerosmith.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I know, shocker. By the way, it's more my era, but
I was about to say, didn't know that was still a thing. But
yeah, they're still touring in their 70s. Yes,
oh
I know.
My gosh!
Yeah,
wow.
Crazy. My brother took me, so it
fun.
wasn't my idea.
Yeah,
although I did love it.
No, that sounds really cool. Yeah. So I think music with kind of everything we actually talked about was like, if you can make it work, whatever is going to get you to go run, be consistent. So that really makes this whole argument thing seem pretty, pointless because we're like, whatever you want to do.
Well, I don't know. Do you have to pick a side? Does it have to be like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Guess not.
By the way, I was going to make a suggestion for the next time.
Oh, go for it.
And that was, should we pick out what side of the argument we're going to do the day of the live on the podcast?
That probably does make it a little better.
You get this side and you argue it now, so you got to be prepared for both sides. Although, as you can tell, there's very close correlation to it's not like the preparation's a lot different.
No, that is so true. No, I like that. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, so we'll pick the next 3 topics or so, and then we'll do that. But if anybody has any other topics they think, I know you don't know what's on our list coming up, but feel free to share any topics you think there are 2 sides of. We're keeping it more of like a fun thing. We're not getting like super controversial because I did find a bunch of like those options too, and I didn't really want to go there yet. So maybe refrain from like super controversial suggestions, but fun little running topics. Also, if you have any strong opinions on any of the things, let us know. If you love being a nighttime runner, morning runner, music, no music, treadmill, hate the treadmill, we want to hear about it because clearly we don't have super strong opinions about a lot of stuff. So feel free to share. And then, I guess that's kind of it, right?
That's it. I was looking at the list now. You've got 15 items on your list, by the way, of potential topics. So
that's long.
That's a long list. Yeah.
That's a long list.
Just knocked out 3 of them.
All right. Well, we'll be back with another 3 because I realized this is also, I thought this was going to be maybe super short and it's not. So I think the timing was pretty good on that. But thank you for debating. What was it? Running rhetoric. Thanks for the running rhetoric segment we had. This was fun.
Thanks, Coach T. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe, all the things that you can do for a podcast that you enjoy listening to. Make sure you check out social media, our website, any of those things. If you have questions, comments, interview requests, feel free to email me at maracuyrunclub@gmail.com.